In this eZsports video tutorial, we're going to move from the individual screens into our cropping. So let's go ahead and click on the cropping button in the lower right hand corner now that it's active. And this takes us directly into our vertical individual images. Now to give you kind of an overview of what we're seeing here, in the upper left hand corner, okay, what we see here is we're looking at our 5x7 verticals. We'll see 5x7 horizontals next. And we're going to be walked through cropping for all these different products that are part of this particular project that people have ordered in their different packages. Okay, so we're going to start off at the 5x7 vertical images. This is our crop forward button. I'll show you how that works here in just a second. And this is something that's relatively new that we've added to the software, is a display count. Right now we're displaying 10 images. There's actually only a total of 13 in this project. If I want to show them all, I can click on 13 and they'll all be available. And the way I would see them is by using my scroll bar to kind of scroll down through them. Okay, so when I look at the images, you see up here at the very top it says 5x7 cropped. It's kind of an orangish yellow. When I click on the image here, the 5x7 crop color matches around the actual image, the color of the 5x7. Let's say guide. Our 8x10 crop is going to be cropped from within the actual 5x7 aspect ratio. Keep in mind, and I'll show this in another little video that has to do with cropping, you can import images into eZsports that are full frame aspect ratio, which is what these are, or pre-crop to an 8x10, and it will show you the appropriate crops for each. I think it's always best personally to leave them at camera aspect ratio, because then that gives you the full capability of cropping at any given individual's image for all the different templates that are going to be available. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and your basic instructions on how to crop are in the lower left hand corner. To reposition, left click and drag. To zoom, right click and drag, or use the mouse wheel. So I'm just going to right click and zoom in to get this positioned how I would like it for either a 5x7 aspect ratio or a 4x5. And then I can use my crop forward button to apply that crop value to all of these images in this particular crop screen. And I'm going to say OK to that, and it crops them all to the same magnification. Now with sports, sometimes it's hard to stay consistent, and sizes of people vary. You may not be using crop lines. We recommend you use crop lines or crop guides in your cameras to help it stay a little bit more consistent. But then I can come in and go through and crop these images how I like, the way that I think they're going to look good. The other thing I want you to keep in mind, what we're doing on these first screens when we crop our individuals, and you'll also see this when we do our team images, is this first crop that we do is going to be applied to a certain degree to all other products that these individuals or team images are used in. So it aids in, if you get it right up front in your vertical and horizontal, what we would call print crops, which is what these are, then the other ones will require less cropping in your templates. So that's all my verticals. So I'll go down here to next crop, and this shows me my horizontals. There's only 4, and I'm just going to go ahead and crop all these to where they look good. And we can go ahead and apply that crop forward and see where that gets us. And granted, when it comes to these kinds of team images, we're probably not going to, the crop forward is not going to work a whole lot, because we have varying sizes of groups and all that other good stuff. So all those look good. So again, go down to my next crop button. And now these are my 8x10 team borders. And what I'm seeing is a team border for each individual that's ordered a team shot. So a couple of ways that we can work through this crop interface is I can go ahead and zoom in on this one. And actually all of them look pretty darn good from the very first crop, but just to show you some things, if I want to make this a little tighter, and I can apply that crop value forward. And The downside to that is it crops all the other ones the exact same way. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out on that one to position that because there's only one. And I'm going to go ahead and change my count to all 9 so I get a better view of these. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a range of images that are the same team by clicking on the first one, holding down my shift key, selecting the last one. You see there all 3 of them are highlighted. Now I can crop all of those at the same time and position them like that. That's a little bit more efficient way to handle this cropping, and it's again relatively new way to do cropping in eZsports. And get that position. I think it's a little bit more efficient, particularly when you have a bunch of different teams. So all that looks good. I'm going to go crop, next crop. And these are my 8x10 memory mates. My individuals, let's just try this. I'm going to click on those and zoom in about the same. So that's pretty good. And if I wanted to, the other thing I can do on this, and what's nice about being able to do multiple crops for an image based upon the templates being used, I could do something like that. And maybe come in here just a little bit tighter on my teams so they look a little bit better within those frames. Go to my next crop, 5x17 borders. And you may think, well, this is sure taking me a lot of time to do all this cropping, but the nice thing about it is you get the crop that you want in all the different products. Okay? And it's not a guessing by golly kind of thing. It's what you see is what you get. Select these 2 and reposition a little bit. Go to my next crop. These are all my tickets. I'm going to say those, they look pretty good, but let's go ahead and bring them in a little bit tighter. Maybe this one here, a little bit more. Okay, that looks good. Buttons have always been a problem. So what we can do is grab this one here, zoom in. This is probably the one product that it really aids you in. You know, when you shoot a full-length image of an individual standing or a cheerleader in a horizontal pose, how do you get that preset so that it looks good in all the different templates? You can't. But with this crop tool, you'll get the crop that you want. And then you can come in and just kind of tweak these so that they look good. Okay, we'll go to next crop. And this is our sports pass. And I can go ahead and zoom in on this guy, and I'll get the same image and the same crop on the back side. Go to next crop, and these are the magazine covers. And I'm just going to grab all of them, drag them down a little bit, click on the one, kind of reposition, and do something along those lines. Again, the cropping that you do is based upon what you think looks good. I might even come in a little bit closer, bring this guy up, something along those lines. Okay, and we still have more cropping to be done because that crop button is still active. These are my 8x10 team image only prints, and you can see the cropping pretty well held from the very beginning, from when we set all that up. Just want to make a little adjustment. Now that I've gone through all of the cropping, you can see that the order button is active. Now we're ready to continue on to actually place the order.